So, well, if it isn't the Doom Slayer himself. What, you think an epic intro and some hardcore music is going to miraculously win you some free points? Guys, you're right, it will. I'm so excited. I've been dying to play Doom Eternal ever since I played the first iteration of the new franchise in the 2016 remake. So what better way to jump back into the demon slaying, chainsaw swinging, shotgun booming hellscape than immediately throwing hours of my life into it and rating the hours of enjoyment I got versus the price I had to pay for it. And people say gaming isn't productive. We out here testing the market. Well, the is gaming fun market at least. Anyway, so let's quit the yapping and get to slaying. Put on some brown pants, demons. I found a shotgun. Yahoo!
Yes! 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 Yes!
Alright, let's start it off right with one of, if not the biggest pro Doom Eternal has to offer, and that is the glorious combat. I don't really even know how else to put it. It's fast-paced, it has depth, and depending on the difficulty you play on, seriously, some of you Ultra Nightmare players built different. But still, every move you make counts. But I really can't compliment the combat as a whole enough, but I'll try. Between your 8 base weapons, all with a normal firing mode and 2 alternate firing modes, excluding the BFG. You also have your flamethrower, your chainsaw, your grenades, power fist, and a goddamn sword. Yeah, that's a lot. Each weapon also feels like it entirely has its place in the game in different situations, and you can freely switch the modes on the fly as you need them in the midst of battle, which honestly, on its own, is such a refreshing take. A lot of times in shooters, the guns have one use, and in a lot of FPS shooters specifically, it's kind of a one-size-fits-all. You have no need to actually switch weapons or weapon type or styles well, to be honest, a bullet does its job. But no, not in Doom Eternal. You need the super shotgun for aerial mobility, you need the sniper mod on the heavy cannon to hit small critical zones from long range, you need the sticky bomb mod on the combat shotgun to quickly deal with way too many cacodemons, and the list just keeps going on. And hell, if you can't switch quick enough to a specific mode on a specific gun, the door is still open for some good old-fashioned brute force shooting. It's just not the quickest way of taking out a given enemy. Then, outside of the guns, the flamethrower is also your armor regen utility. Out of armor on the verge of death but have a glory kill lined up? Pop the flame and watch the enemy explode into armor plates. God, it's glorious. And the same is true for ammo. Honestly, 90% of the time in Doom Eternal, I always felt like I was going through bullets faster than demons were dropping, which, mind you, is freaking awesome. You truly feel that you are a one-man army against an endless number of demons, so that is a crazy immersion add in my opinion. But anyway, out of bullets, chainsaw that motherfucker, give me bullets back. Really wasn't seeing the resource management aspect of this game, and credit where credit is due on how insanely the developers nailed it. While Doom Eternal can certainly invoke a desperate feeling in a player in any given arena fight, it never felt unfair. To be frank, you have options to get everything you need back at any given moment, as long as the cooldown's gone, but that's part of the resource management aspect of the game. Then on top of everything, they add in the dashing, which, while one, helps and is necessary for platforming, also adds such a layer to the game in terms of movement and utility that, well, I suppose I'll just be honest, I was getting dizzy in the early hours of the game, trying to dodge, fishhook, whip around, shoot, dodge again, 360 no-scope, dodge, fishhook again, you get my goddamn point. I'm 100% sure I'm leaving something out here, but oh my god, does the combat of Doom Eternal deliver. I was addicted from the 2-hour mark and just could not get enough of it. And considering I got quite a few hours in the game at this point, don't judge me, I'm in love. Anyway, I can't spend the whole video writing this game's combat system stupid style. On to the next one. Oh, holy crap, I left out power weapons. It looks fun, right? Moving on. Now this is what I call enemy variety, unlike someone I know, but we'll get there. Oh boy, we'll get there. So, that being said, let's go down the list, shall we? Wasn't supposed to read that out loud. Zombies, imps, zombie soldiers, shield soldiers, mecha zombie, gargoyle, lost souls, cue balls, arachnotrons, cacodemons, prowlers, carcasses, hell knights, dread knights, revenants, pinkies, mancubi, cyber mancubi, pain elemental, whiplash, barons, tyrants, doom hunters, archviles, and marauders. So yeah, needless to say, no matter the situation you are in, you are always going to have a nice healthy mix of demons, heavy demons, and super heavies. And to make matters matters worse, or better in this case, each demon has its own set of strengths and weaknesses, some requiring specific weapons to make hitting the crits easier or triggering quicker instant kills. I've also left out a few from the list, believe it or not, but they pop up more in the DLC, so I'll try to mention them there if I remember. Probably won't. You're gonna find out for yourself. One opponent I do need to directly call out here is the Marauder, and yeah, he's annoying. Like the first 3 times he pops up. Other than that, he becomes one of my favorite enemies in the entire game. Honestly, after like the 5th or 6th time he popped up, it was less of, it's this dude again, and more of, oh, you Doomslayer wannabe, come at me. I'll send your axe, your head, and the heads of your precious dogs to your master. My bad. Scheduling therapy immediately. Seriously though, just learn to super shotgun ballista quick swap him, and I promise the first time you one phase him, you'll see how much of a bitch he really is. But just to add on something personal here for me, a major pet peeve in games is when enemies are repeated ad nauseum, or simply giving a normal enemy that you fought for the entire game a boss bar and a name and saying, hey, look, it's a new enemy. No, you ain't slick. I may not be able to read or hear or comprehend basic information, but where was I going with this? Anyway, that's just something that kind of gets my goat, so to speak. So seeing a healthy pool of enemies just keeps me more engaged and truly thinking in any arena fight of a priority list of what needs to die first and what I can kind of leave in the back lines and deal with after I've dealt with the big priorities. All in all, it sums up to lots of demons, happy Slayer. So on to the next one. Something I really appreciate in a game is some kind of pick up and play mode. For me, I have a job. I have other chores and responsibilities I need to handle day to day, so having these types of modes that I can just sit down and play for a half hour or an hour or whatever time I have and just jump into something really fun really means a lot to me. So in Doom Eternal's case, it has Horde mode. Essentially, it's the same as the base game, but more focused on the arena fights and an overall more arcadey experience. Time trials, jumping puzzles, and other things similar in feel. Honestly, I keep going back just to see if I can beat my previous scores whenever I have time. Not going all that well, I'll be honest, but I am having a damn good time playing it. It's not to say a lot of games aren't or can't be pick up and play. Hell, Call of Duty, Apex Legends, Overwatch, Fortnite are all games you could literally just sit down, play a game or two when you have 30 minutes or an hour free, but it's cool to really just have a mode that feels like it was built for or designed around a smaller time to play. Kinda a little bit for everybody. Let's be honest, adulting sucks. I just want to play my games, man. On to the next one. I know these last two are kind of quick, but I did feel like they warranted some kind of mention. So now for Tag 1, or the Ancient Gods Part 1. And oh my god, what the hell happened? Not in a bad way, mind you, but Jesus, Tag 1 jumped the difficulty something fierce, which was great and entirely unexpected. Like seriously, an unyielding wave after wave of heavy and super heavy demons had me hurting for ammo and dashing for my life the entire time. On top of that, the ending boss fight was a serious challenge, at least for me. I don't know if I'm just dumb or was way too slow with reactions, but I was having a genuine problem getting any level of substantial damage to it. You know, on top of trying to dodge a multitude of minions chasing me all around the arena in which the boss fight took place. Failed that one quite a few goddamn times, and I wasn't even playing on hard mode. Seriously though, some other games need to take some cues from Doom Eternal and make their DLCs like this. The challenge was a welcome addition, especially after finishing the game, where the end of the game actually gets rather difficult just due to the sheer amount of demons you run into, depending on what this all kind of goes back to depending on what difficulty you're playing on, but take that with a grain of salt. But seriously, no matter what you're playing on, Tag 1 spikes it in every category. All right, well, no game is perfect, so that was all the good stuff. Let's talk about the not so good stuff, and there's not many, but again, one of them is gonna be polarizing.
No, fuck, shit.
So when talking overall cons of the game, let's start with the most minor of the three, and that's the story. I mean, it's there. Yeah. I mean, if you're really a diehard fan of the Doom series, story-wise, I'm sure it's much more engaging and interesting, but for me, it was kind of an afterthought. In all honesty, I'm not even entirely sure what it was after 3 full playthroughs. I find myself going into a level or a brand new playthrough, intending to actually listen to the dialogue and cutscenes, but it quickly takes a backseat to the combat every time. And as I've said, that's just because the combat is just so goddamn good. Like, I can't even describe it. The combat just immediately overshadows any aspect of me paying attention to the story because I'm just itching to get into another arena fight. That's right, suck my BFG demons, yeah! Although, in all reality, I don't think anyone who has played Doom Eternal would be surprised by me saying the story is just kind of meh and an afterthought as a whole, because I mean, let's be honest, you're not playing Doom for a gripping story, you are playing for the absolute carnage, and Eternal delivers in spades. At its core, Doom is an arena shooter, and it makes no compromises to that point. It is an arena shooter first and a story second, in my opinion. You can crucify me in the comments. So yeah, the story suffers in terms of a gripping tale, but who needs that when you've got a shotgun, a chainsaw, and too many demons to introduce them to? All right, let's move on to the second con that I would like to bring up, and that's Tag 2, or the Ancient Gods Part 2, which is gonna, just give me a second here. Now, for what it's worth, I don't think Tag 2 is bad, but coming off the back of Tag 1, it certainly wasn't what I expected, especially with Tag 1 set up in terms of difficulty. I went into it hyped up and ready for another spike, or at least to level set and keep the same level of difficulty, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. It almost feels like it got dialed back. I'm not sure if people who couldn't hack it, so to speak, in Tag 1 had made some complaints or whatever happened, but they dialed back the amount of heavies and super heavies and overall congestion of demons to make it more accessible, but Tag 2 is significantly easier than Tag 1. Even in terms of ammo availability, gas for chainsaws, and armor plates, and that's like something from the base game, I felt significantly less desperate and scrambling to stay alive in Tag 2. I kind of just walked around and picked stuff up. I don't know. Off the back of Tag 1, Tag 2 was, yeah, a wildly unexpected disappointment. And that's not even talking about the boss. Lore-wise, yeah, I'm sure it was something, and I'm sure people who have been waiting for it wanted some kind of lore on what he was, but I found him more annoying than hard, to be entirely honest. In a game that up until this point has felt like a constant sprint with everything you have, it felt like this boss was more of a marathon than anything else. I won't trash Tag 2 any more than I have, I suppose. Besides, the next one is the big one. I'm gonna need my helmet for this one, but okay. Here we go. Doom Eternal's loop boils down to arena fight, platform, jump puzzle, arena fight, repeat. And you're either going to absolutely love it, right here, or you are going to play it through once and that's it. And look, for me, the loop is a lot of fun. I don't mind essentially doing the same thing over and over in a different arena with a new mix of enemies, but at the same time, I can see how there's an argument for why do it twice when I've done it once. Full transparency, this section wasn't even in the video until about an hour ago, but I had a conversation with a friend of mine that sparked me kinda thinking about it. Essentially, his point boiled down to was that he thought the game was fun, but the repetition of arena fight after arena fight after arena fight was just repetitive for him, and once the game had been beaten, he had no interest in going back and playing the game again, or doing specific areas, or really anything at all. And yeah, I can understand that, taking my bias out of the game and how much I actually like trying to push the skill ceiling and maybe push higher difficulties, but if already on first playthrough of the game, you're already starting to feel burnt out and it's too repetitive, and instead of going into your next arena fight feeling like, hell yeah, let's fight demons, fish hook away, you're more in line with, oh boy, another arena fight, yay. Yeah, you're probably not itching for a second playthrough. And that's what it boils down to. The loop is going to entirely go down to the fact that if you like arena shooters and have any interest in pushing the skill ceiling or taking on higher difficulties such as Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare, you're obviously going to get more playtime out of the game. Meanwhile, on the flip side of that, if you really don't have an interest in doing any of that, you're probably not going to go back to specific areas to learn how the demons roughly spawn, learn extra points on critical hits, or learn anything else that would help you with mobility or resource management or anything of that nature. Personally, I'm having a great time with the game outside of Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare. I really don't think Ultra Nightmare is going to do anything for me besides frustrate me, and personally, Ultra Violence gives me enough struggle and difficulty to keep me having fun while also pushing me to move, shoot, and resource manage better and better. But if you have no aspirations outside of Hurt Me Plenty and you've already beaten the game, you're probably not gonna go back. I think the bottom line is Doom Eternal, in terms of its loop, is either going to suck you in very quickly and make you play hundreds if not thousands of hours of the game to fully improve, or it's slowly going to push you away, and that's going to have a lot to do with individual preferences, and I'm very thankful that he gave me his side of it while I was doing this video, because I would have completely omitted this, and I think it's actually a huge point. Don't get me wrong, it is ridiculously hard to add or subtract points in places because for a lot of it, it's going to come down to personal preference, but that's a me problem now, ain't it? I will do my best to be fair, but I'm gonna need to actually consider the score again because the score is definitely gonna change based on his comments alone. Anyway, okay, I think that went well. No one threw anything at me? Okay, we're good. Or if I'm completely wrong, tell me in the comments. Fair warning, I will be wearing my helmet, so be warned. I don't know what the helmet has anything to do with any of my points, but anyway. And that pretty much ends the cons. As I'm sure you're aware if you have made it this far, there is one I guess you would have to have played the game, but there's one aspect of the game I have completely left out, and yeah, it originally was going to be a con, I'm not gonna hide that, but it was negatively affecting the score because of my own bias against it. But I still gotta talk about it, so let's get into it.
Why the hell is that? What the hell's going on?
Now, about Battle Mode 2.0. Might as well come out with it. Really wasn't for me, I'm sorry. Not a big fan of the 2v1 gank fight mode. I gave it a handful of shots, but I really wasn't finding any enjoyment in it. I took it out of the con section because that's not to say that because I don't like it, it's a bad mode. No. I'm sure there's an audience there for it. Honestly, with the game being a few years old and the queues being relatively fast, that is a testament to the fact that there are people still out there actively playing the mode and enjoying it. It's just not for me. Honestly, for whatever reason that you see this, be sure to try it out for yourself. My bias is my own, and I'd hate to think that someone would miss out on a mode that they may love because some idiot on the internet shared opinions no one asked him for. So that's why I decided to move it out of the con section and just kind of mention it here at the end. While I'm really trying to give everything a fair score, I know my own personal biases are going to try to interfere with it, so I need to call them out where I see them. At the very least, to keep everything level. Speaking of which, yeah, they showed up quite a bit in the Space Marine 2 video. Seriously, rewrote that script like 5 times at this point. But anyway, time to score this gory bastard. God damn it. Sorry, Editor Crow here. So I screwed up. So real quick, the score here at the end is going to strictly count for the base game of Doom Eternal. As I went to record this part, I looked up the price of the DLCs for Tag 1 and Tag 2 respectively, and they are currently $20 each. Yeah, I don't know either, and I really wasn't expecting that. And to make matters worse, that greatly skews the score of the game. So I will strictly be talking base game for scoring. If you want to know what it is with the DLC, I would add 9 to the score, though that comes with a caveat. I would highly recommend you wait for them to go on sale. For them being 4 years old and still being $20, that just seems egregious, to say the least. And they go on sale fairly frequently for $6.59 USD every so often. My bad. Back to the other guy.
Oh, Jesus, here we go again.
So, after much deliberation, I landed on a final score for Doom Eternal, coming in with a 62 out of 100. If you were to buy this game, I can't see you getting any less than 62 hours of genuine enjoyment out of it. Taking the MSRP of the game, which is $39.99, and dividing it by our final score, we are left with a total of 65 cents per hours of enjoyment. For the price and the hours, I would call that a crazy good deal, especially considering there is a large group of people out there that I could see getting well over 62 hours out of Doom Eternal with all it has to offer. At the same time, there is a risk. I can also see the argument there is a group of people out there that may only get a single playthrough. Don't get me wrong, still enjoyable either way. Between the depth of the combat, a clear skill ceiling. Seriously, go watch some of these montages. They are a freaking trip. My favorites are in the description, but oh my god. Great DLC experiences, a mode for the casual afterwork gamer, a PvP mode for someone very different from me, and enough challenge to keep even the most sadistic Demon Slayer happy. Doom Eternal really has something for everyone out there. To me, that's what games should be about. Something for everyone, every playstyle, every degree of amusement, from the have a good time relaxing in the afternoon after work to really pushing the limits of gameplay. I don't know. I had an amazing time getting to play Doom Eternal. Hell, I logged over 100 hours of my life into it, and I'm sure I'll be back at some point for an afternoon of fun and demon slaying. So, yeah, that's about it from me. Through some extracurricular research to see if my opinions were way off base, I kinda came to find out that Doom Eternal was quite the one way or the other on initial release. But at the end of the day, we gotta make our own decisions, and this is my take. So if you liked it, I don't know, like the video? Did I do that right? And as always, if I'm wrong, tell me. I wanna know what others have to say about this game I had so much fun with. Anyway, that's it. See ya.